I'm working on a 75-inch Samsung Neo QLED TV that a neighbor was throwing out because it failed for them. You can see the model number. The symptoms are you turn it on and you don't get a picture. You get the flashing LED indicator on the front panel, but there's no backlight and there's no picture. I took it apart. You can see what it looks like. This is what the 75-inch looks like inside. Just a quick rundown. You have the main board, the power supply. There is an backlight zone, like LED zone controller, and all of these ribbon cables go to different zones on the back of the TV. These are like woofer speakers. And woofer, and that's like a tweeter and another tweeter. The motherboard ribbon cable goes, there's no T-con board, it's built into the motherboard. And the control lines for controlling the LCD, it gets connected here, and it's like the full length of the TV. So what I will do, trying to get my thoughts together. So I'm going to put the camera on a tripod and see if I can do something here. Okay. Hopefully you can see that. So if I plug in the TV, I hear a click on the power supply. You cannot see any backlight. Normally you would see backlights shining through the holes in the metal frame. So it's clicking. You may not be able to see the LED. Let me check. Oh, there it is, okay. All right. So what I will do, I will unplug the TV. And the first step in troubleshooting would be to remove the power cable that comes from the power supply and goes to the motherboard. But there's also signals, I guess, from the motherboard that will go back to the power supply. But what you want to do is you disconnect It's a little tricky to get in there. So with the cable disconnected from the motherboard going to the power supply or vice versa, now when you plug it in, the backlights should come on and stay on if the power supply is good and if the backlights are good. So I see backlights, these little dots. I don't know if they showed up on the camera. I think you do see them lit. So the backlight is lit and it stays on. It's not cycling on and off every 10 seconds like when the motherboard is connected. Okay, so that indicates that the power supply is good and the backlights are good. So I'm going to disconnect the power, plug the motherboard back in, like that. Now I'm going to remove the ribbon cable that goes from the motherboard to the LCD panel itself, just to see if there's a problem with the LCD panel that could cause the motherboard to be cycling on and off. So I'm going to take this off. You just kind of flip up on the latch and you can pull it up. And I'll just lay it like that. Power back on. So once again, we're back to the original failure. No backlights. You don't see any backlights. I hear the click of the relay and I see the LEDs flashing, just like the original problem. So that kind of eliminates that this particular problem is being caused by the by the LCD panel itself. So the next thing I will do, I'm going to disconnect the speakers. I mean, not that would cause a real problem, but get rid of the tweeters. Get rid of the woofer. I'm going to disconnect the front panel just in case there's some IR sensor that's going crazy and causing resets. So the front panel is disconnected. So the only thing that's connected right now is the motherboard, the power from the power supply going to the motherboard, and this little cable here goes to the zone control for the backlights. So I'm going to plug it back in. Once again, there's no backlight. The LED won't flash because we disconnected that. And I hear the relay clicking on the power supply, indicating that it's cycling on and off. So the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this control line going to the zones to see what that does. This heatsink is floating because I already removed it to look at the circuit board. Okay, now when you plug in the TV with the controls for the backlight, with that disconnected, now when it's doing its cycle, the backlights turn on, and then when the relay clicks, the lights go off. But I think the motherboard is bad. I think the motherboard is still doing this cycling situation. So I'm going to disconnect it here. In troubleshooting, I removed the heat sink. There's like little tabs that you kind of pop out from the bottom of the board. Some of the things that I did for troubleshooting, these are your HDMI ports. I checked the differential. See if I can zoom in. Every HDMI port has 4 pairs of wires, and each one of those should measure with a junction meter, like 0.8, with a diode test feature on your meter. So I checked each one of those 8 lines. There's like 4 pair. I checked each one to see if there were shorts or open, but each one had a good diode junction. Other things, obviously I checked the capacitor with a cap meter. That's good. I checked every single transistor with the junction meter, looking for opens or shorts. I checked every diode and voltage regulator. I checked every coil. Coils usually measure short, or very, very low ohms, but I measured each coil to ground just to make sure there were no shorts. What else did I do? And I looked at everything under a microscope looking for cold solder joints. I didn't see anything. So what I'm going to do next, I'm going to try to reflow the main graphics processor by adding some flux and letting the flux flow in back of the ball grid array. And then I'll take like a heat gun or my hot air machine and try to reflow the chip. But it's like a last ditch effort to try to get it working. I was able to get a VZO fixed doing that method. I actually put it in the oven and it seems to be working, but I'm not sure if this is the problem with a bad ball grid array connection, but if that doesn't solve it, I'm going to order a new motherboard and see if that solves the problem. All right, stay tuned. Okay, I'm ready to do an attempt of reflowing the main graphics chip on this Samsung TV. I have a hot air machine here, hot air station. I will probably set this for 350 degrees Celsius, and I will have a temperature probe on the chip or close to the chip, and I probably don't want to go much higher than 250 in that area to kind of get things flowing. I'm going to be using this bootleg Amtech flux. When you buy it from China for $2, make sure it says made in USA and has that little whatever, your hologram. But you know, it's all bull. It's probably Vaseline, but it still works pretty well. What I will do first is I'm going to preheat the board. Let's do this. I'm going to preheat a good part of the board, top and bottom. And I'm not saying this is a great way to do it. There are real reflow machines. But I just want to try to see if this brings any life back to the TV. If not, I'm going to order a new main board today. I think it's only about $100. And I'll flip the board around. I have a board underneath it so it won't buckle when it starts to get hot. The ball grid array is pretty much under this painted white part. Hopefully it's recording. I think we are recording. So it's getting toasty. I'm not trying to flow the solder. I'm just trying to warm both the top and bottom part of the board, so there isn't any kind of shock or make it buckle. I don't know. Now I'm going to get my Chinese Amtech. I think I'll turn this off. Come on. Well, I'll just add some here. Just kind of add a bead. I don't know if you can see this on the camera. Probably the lighting sucks, but I'm just going to heat it up and let that flow down. Can you see that? So it's flowing. I just want that flux to kind of flow behind the ball grid array, so that when I actually add some serious heat, you have some good flux in there. I'll do that to the all four sides. Come on. Come on, just work. And of course I'm going to get comments like this idiot doesn't know what he's doing, don't do what he's doing, which is great. That means somebody's actually watching the video. And just do a little bit more on this last side. Okay. Good. So I feel pretty good. There's lots of flux under the ball grid array. So now I'll just hook up the, just put this down for a second. I'm just going to kind of push the thermal couple there. Can we still see what's going on? Okay. Maybe I can zoom in a little bit. Okay. And now I'm just going to I know solder will not melt, at least this lead-free stuff won't melt until it's probably 240, 250. And I should time myself, it's just about 25 after. I'm kind of staying away from the dead center, which is, you know, where the stupid thermocouple is, but I'll move it back a little bit. All right, I'm just going to call it the day and see what happens. Yeah, if I train it right on the thermocouple, I know it's pretty damn hot. All right, I'm just going to say that's good enough. And that was maybe about 3 minutes or so. And what I'll do is I'll just let that cool down. It's really hot. I'll just let that cool down, and maybe in a half an hour I'll plug it into the board and see if it does anything. Plug it into the TV, see if it does anything. Okay, the moment of truth. I'm not going to clean off the flux. It's kind of like really dry and hard on there. But let's see if there's any change whatsoever. Putting the boards in and out of these TVs are real simple. There's a couple little slots, like little tongue and groove springs that the board slides on. And there's a little dimple on the frame that you just push it over like that. It's simple. I'm going to hook everything up, the speakers, the front control panel, the LED zone controller for the backlights. This is the power supply, the tweeter, and the main cable for controlling the LCD itself. That's what puts the picture on the screen. All right. I have not tried this. I'll put the heat sink on. I'll keep it on. I'm only going to turn it on for like a minute. So as you remember before, when you would turn it on, you would get no backlight, no sound, nothing like that. It was pretty much dead except for clicking of the relay and the LED would flash. And if this doesn't work, I'm just going to order a board for $100. So I'm going to plug it in. Hopefully it doesn't blow up. I don't see any LED, I don't see any backlights. So I don't think it made any improvement. And this is getting a little warm, which is normal, but okay. So the next step is just to order a motherboard. Okay, the new circuit board just came in, and I have not tried it yet. And as always, it's a little nerve-wracking, but it's definitely the correct circuit board. I don't know if you can see that. So let's put it in. I'm just going to connect everything up and go for it. The board was ordered from tvpartstoday.com. It was around $100 plus shipping. And more than likely, it's a board that's pulled from a broken TV, and I doubt they have a way to test every single board that they ship. But, you know, take your chances here. Okay, front panel, the woofers, the main LCD control, the tweeter, the power supply, the LED zone controller board. So everything is hooked up. I'm hoping that when I plug it in, we will actually get some backlights, some LEDs. Let's try it. I see backlights. I think it's working.
Two simple options. How would you like to get started?
Yes, all right. Do you hear that? It's working.
Simply press and hold the volume button.
I think I'm not going to pull the screen up because it's so large. I don't want to crack the screen, but it's working. The main board was the culprit. All right, guys. I will shoot a video once it's all put back together and lifted up. But it looks like the motherboard, main board was the problem. When I originally took the TV apart, like the cover was on top, obviously, but I pried the top off a little bit, and then I was able to lift up these bars, these little metal wires, and pull them out, slide these bars out. And that made taking the top off a lot easier. I didn't have to pop off the plastic and risk breaking the plastic tabs. The way that works, the plastic cover kind of hooks into this little metal bar, just like here, and it's all the way around the entire TV. There must be about 40 of them. So like a bar here, for instance, you pry the corner of the back off, the plastic back. You just pry it up a little bit so that you can, look in the side and access it. And then you lift it up and you pull it out. I was using a little screwdriver to do that. I would get in there, and it's a pain in the neck. I'm not saying it's easy, but I got in there and was able to like pull on it and slide it out. I found out how to do that on a site called Patch1stripe TV Parts, something like that. Patch1stripe TV Parts. He's a great guy and he knows his stuff, and he put a tutorial online on how to do that. So I will add a link to my video. Now, before I put the back on, I'm actually going to put some lubrication on these plastic, like on the plastic bosses that go into the holes. I'll just put a little bit of silicone grease. And then these are the little plastic tabs that hook onto the wire. I'm actually going to get a little bit of grease and just kind of hit each one so that it snaps on easier. And if I ever have to take it apart again, it will come off easier, I hope. Anyway, I'm excited to put this together and get it working again. Yep. Okay. All right. So this is the first time it's being plugged in and looked at after it's put back together. Okay. Hey, Samsung. Awesome. I'm just hoping the whole screen lights up and not sections missing.
Two simple options. How would you like to get started? Choose one. Okay. To use the accessibility function, simply press and hold the volume button.
Okay. I'm happy. Everything looks real nice. The whole screen looks absolutely perfect. So that's it, guys. It was the main board that was causing no picture, no backlight, no sound, and the only thing that was happening was the relay was clicking on and off, and the LED on the control panel was blinking. But now with a new motherboard, it looks like it's working like brand new. All right, take care. Thanks.